Good morning. It's my pleasure to introduce to you this morning our Reverend Dr. Ken Wilcox.
Morning. Thank you, David. Thank you, everyone. Welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living. My name is Reverend Ken Wilcox. You're very welcome to be here this morning. We are a special community. We are a spiritual community without dogma. We don't force our beliefs upon you. We encourage you to develop a God of your understanding. So you will never feel pressure to join or to give with us. And it's our prayer that you leave us today feeling encouraged and inspired to know that your life is working out wonderfully and that you have a power, which is spirit flowing through you, that you can use to create the life of your dreams. So know you're in a great place this morning, and Spirit is going to recognize and reward you abundantly. Well, we have a lot of announcements this morning. The first one is we've got Brenda coming up, and she's going to announce all our new members. So Brenda, if you'll step up, please. What's that? Yeah.
Hand.
Yes.
Oh. The whole morning has been like this, so here we go. So, Kathy Simic. Is Kathy here? No? All right. Jen Roth. And, of course, her Jack, Nate. Her Jack.
Our Jack.
And Ralph Garris. Welcome. Sue Mashat. Is Sue here? No. Yes. Steve Waitnight. Take it for him.
Thank you, Steve.
Deborah Hosbach. Sorry, Hosbach. Yeah. Okay. Linda Chandler. And Mike and Dottie Hurth.
Dottie, Mike. Yes, that was easy. Thank you, guys. We're so happy to have you part of our community. We're so blessed that you're a part, and we're so grateful for you. So know you're off on a wonderful adventure, and we're so happy to have you here. Thank you, Brenda. So as you know, our members meeting is today. If you're a member, if you're just really interested in what's going on at our community, stick around for that. That will be after service. And so we'll go over our details of our community. So please feel free to stick around for that. Our Science of Mind class started last Thursday, but you're still welcome to join. It's on a divine idea, the history of our movement. Those are Thursdays at 3 o'clock here. We have chair yoga on Tuesdays at 10 o'clock. Again, we have yoga on Friday at 10 o'clock. And hospitality, we need some help. There's a sign-up sheet outside, and they've broken that down to different projects. So look that over if that's something that interests you. And starting next week, we're going to have our after-service workshop starting up again. And it starts off with a bang because that's Jim Saul is going to do it, and his workshop is going to heal yourself. So put that on your calendar and be sure to stick around for that. Well, those are our announcements, so let's get going with some really great music. David?
Snow-capped
Thank you, David. So now to get our service going, we've got Jim coming up to do a reading and treatment. Come on up for us, Jim.
I journal a lot. I think it's a really good way for me to kind of communicate with myself. And often I try to journal about this feeling of being guided by a higher consciousness. So this morning, my writing is not only trying to describe feeling guided, but also trying to give a personal example. I hope you enjoy it. I so often feel guided by a divine intelligence now, but sometimes that guidance has more a feeling of a firm, hard shove. An uncomfortable push to do something I really don't want to do. Sometimes it even pushes me to do something I think I could never, ever accomplish. Being pushed to stretch my abilities and often to face some of my greatest fears, forcing me to make changes in my life beyond what I think I'm capable of doing. This is, in my opinion, divine guidance. The thing is, these pushes always have had a positive outcome. If I can just get over the fear, the negative thinking that I am incompetent, not intelligent enough, or unworthy. An example of this is on October 10th, 1985, I attended this church's very first service. Afterwards, my then wife Catherine asked me if I wanted to begin to attend this church regularly, to which I said yes. I really wanted to know the wisdom which was being taught here. It seemed amazing. But, I said, there's always a but. But what I really don't want is I don't want social interaction. A few years later, I had a revelation. I was meditating a lot, getting some profound revelations when I told God what I wanted. I told God that I want to know, really know, that I am on a true spiritual path, one that will enlighten me. The revelation came immediately, as it always does. The answer came as words in my head that said, to be on a true spiritual path, you must be 50% student and 50% teacher. To be 80% student, you're self-centered. Give me this wisdom, give me this insight, gimme. To be 80% teacher, you're arrogant. I am the teacher, I have the wisdom. This revelation was horrible at the time. Truly scary. I wanted to be 100% student and not teach at all. I knew I couldn't be a teacher. I was an introvert and poor accredited accomplishments, academic accomplishments. I had poor social skills. I couldn't articulate myself well at all. How could I ever be a teacher? It seemed totally impossible to me, and to accomplish this, I just felt I would always be a failure. It amazes me now that what we don't want in our lives is often what we need most in our lives. I tried for years to avoid being a teacher. This, teacher thing, I tried to avoid it. Public speaking was terrifying. But this divine intelligence kept nudging me forward. Little by little, I tried social interaction. I eventually tried to teach, truly poorly at first, but eventually I learned to speak as if it were there helping me, relying on it. And with time, I began to trust it to help me and to improve as a teacher. Now I believe in myself most of the time, and I believe everyone is guided and sometimes pushed into a higher greatness and a more happy and fulfilling life. I believe it guides us in this way. So let's take that idea of being guided and go into our morning prayer. Take a deep breath. Relax. And know with me that this divine intelligence is always here. It's always loving us. It always tries to help us. But yes, sometimes it does try to push us into a better life, into a more freeing experience, into a more divine purpose. But I know that it always does this for our highest and best. It has our highest and best as its goal. And so this morning I know that it's guiding us in such a beautiful way, even if sometimes it feels uncomfortable. I give thanks for this divine intelligence, even though sometimes it feels uncomfortable, because it has helped me to do things that I would have never, ever been able to do on my own. And so that's what I have for you this morning, this idea that when you become a partner with this divine intelligence, that it will guide you in such a loving way. So I give thanks for it. I give thanks for this center, for it has guided me all these years. I give thanks for Ken's talk, as it always uplifts me, and I give thanks for each person here, and I will do my best to be socially fun. I give thanks for all of this, and I can release this prayer, knowing that it's true, knowing that this divine intelligence will guide us all, simply and easily by saying, and so it is. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. David?
Must have been cold there in my shadow to never have sunlight on your face. You've been content to let me shine. You always walk the step behind. I was the one with all the glory. I would be nothing without you. Did you ever know that you're my hero? And everything I would like to be. I can fly higher than an eagle, 'cause you are the wind beneath my wings. You are the wind beneath my wings.
Lovely. Thank you, David. Thank you, David. Well, today we're finishing up on the 4 first chapters of the Science of Mind textbook, and I'm calling today's talk The Power of Prayer. We also started our Science of Mind classes last Thursday, and what we're doing is we're doing a history of really where did spiritual thought come from? Where did the ideas and principles we use, where did humans first start thinking of spirit or God as a co-creator with them, a power they can use? We started off with the cult of the mother god, and that still shows up in our influences of intuition and healthcare and childbirth. We talked about Zoroastrianism and how that's reflected in really all the main religions, or 3 of the main religions, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. And then we talked about early Judaism and how in the first couple of chapters of Genesis that we get a couple of different names for God. And it's almost like the different names reflect a different personality. The first one that we're most familiar with is Yahweh, and that's really the tribal warrior God. That's the one that comes in and kicks butt and takes names. He's a really kind of hostile guy, easily to get ticked off. The second one is Elohim, and Elohim is the more universal, spiritual, not just tribal for the Jews, but universal, control of the universe. And the third one is probably the most interesting, especially for those of us in New Thought, and that's the name that when Moses asked the burning bush, the burning bush tells Moses, go to Pharaoh and tell him to set my people free. Moses then asked him, well, who shall I say is I'm representing? And the Spirit replies with a very interesting kind of pun almost. Tell them that I am, that I am. And scholars have debated what is the meaning of that. And the argument that I like the most is, you just wait and see my power. You're going to know me by the works I do, that I am. Now, New Thought takes this very seriously. Many scholars will tell you, never say I am and put a negative behind that. Never say I am stupid. Never say I am dumb. When you do that, you're telling the universe who you are. And when you catch yourself doing that, particularly in your thought, make the change and replace that negative with a positive. And when you're doing that, you are in a vortex of power. Because you see, beforehand, you had just been generating a lot of energy for your negative. You're just draining your own self. When you switch to the positive, you step into the cosmic flow of creation. And not only are your thoughts, but all the energies of the universe are flowing through you, and you're bound to see results. You're bound to see good showing up in your life unless you talk yourself out of it. So speak well of yourself. It's socially incorrect, but it's a spiritual imperative. Speak well of yourself, and particularly think well of yourself. You're doing the best you can. It's not the easiest of incarnations to be human, so give yourself a break. Now, Dr. Holmes, he studied all major religions, and he said at the core, they were basically saying the same thing. There is a power for good in the universe, and we can put that power to work in our lives. He, of course, emphasized the power of affirmative prayer, praying as Jesus did, praying believing. And this is how we can change our lives, and this is how we can change the world. Not begging and pleading on bended knees, but standing upright in our full spiritual maturity, announcing our good out to a receptive universe. And if you can't do that for yourself, get someone else to do it for you. Our practitioners, Jim and Maureen, will be happy to do an affirmative prayer for you. One of the biggest spiritual practices I've had that have really worked the best for me is to have a prayer partner, someone who can pray for me when I can't really see it for myself. It's very powerful to have someone you respect and someone you love announcing your good to the universe. You know, a couple of years ago, I used to see a bumper sticker that said, "I pray that I'm the person my dog thinks I am." Well, I changed that. I pray to be the person my prayer partner thinks I am. It's a powerful tool we can use. Now, this creative power is right where we are at any given moment, and it's waiting for us to give it direction. Spirit works for us by working through us, and it can do so in no other way. It has no other option. No matter how desperate or how pitiful our situation can become, this is the only way it can work for us. This past week, we had a cardinal show up at our house, determined to chase away a competitor. Unfortunately, the competitor was its own reflection in one of our sliding glass doors. So for weeks, you would hear him determined to bash his own brains in. We tried everything we could. We hung pie pans. Then we got the little stickers you put on the windows. Then I stepped into my full spiritual teacher mode. I was going to go out and meditate with the cardinal. I was going to become one with the cardinal and urge it to go on and find better fields elsewhere. The next morning, I was out yelling at the cardinal, "Go away, you dumb bird! What's wrong with you?" Now, eventually, we put up mesh curtains to keep it away, and hopefully, it has found peace and security somewhere else. But I often wonder, does the Spirit not have sometimes the same reaction to us as we beat ourselves, against a brick wall of reality, acting like a victim, somehow expecting life to get better by our complaining about it? I wonder how Spirit feels and how, it wants to help us, but we don't give it an outlet. We're called to inspire ourselves in each other, inspire, to be in spirit, and to provide it as many outlets for greater living as we can consciously come up with. Because when we're providing it outlets, when we are raising our vibration up, we can match that energy, that creativity that created the rings of Saturn. And at that level, we have no problem getting a bank account overflowing with money, or having abundant health, or being surrounded by wonderful joy. That power which set the universe in motion has no trouble at all providing you a life that's fulfilling and enjoyable, entertaining, profitable, and meaningful. We just have to match the vibration of the universe. I found Dr. Holmes one time. He had a woman come to him It was out in L.A., and she had moved into a neighborhood. She found a perfect apartment. She'd moved into it. But when she got in the apartment, she didn't realize that just next door to it was a elementary school. And during the day, they would let the kids out to go play in the playground, and they were out shouting and singing and having a good time. Well, this disrupted her meditation schedule. And she went to Dr. Holmes and she says, I want you to do a prayer to shut those kids up. Don't they know I'm meditating? I'm doing advanced spiritual work, and they're out there hollering and whooping and having, I want them quiet. Dr. Holmes says, I won't do it. I'm not going to do it. He says, I'll do a prayer for you that you enjoy their laughter. I'll do a prayer for you that they're having a good time, heightens your meditation. But I'm not doing a prayer for them not to laugh and enjoy their childhood. Now, of the two prayers that were discussed, which one would have the most energy, the most chances for success? I'm convinced Spirit has no interest in seeing children not have a good time. So I don't think there would be the only energy that prayer would have would be the prayer of the woman giving it. Children are going to laugh and have a good time. So that one is not going to work. But the prayer that will allow her to change her mind, that could be powerful. A prayer to allow her to enjoy and step into love and step into play and laughter. There's a lot of energy into that. And that could open up a better idea for her and allow her to accept the universal mind and get behind it. Dr. Holmes says we should be able to look a discordant situation in the face and say to that, you're not the boss of me. You're on its way out of here. I like the character, one of my favorite fictional books is Confederacy of Dunces, John Kennedy O'Toole. And the main character is Ignatius. And at one point, Ignatius says to somebody giving him trouble, he says, you don't scare me none. I've already had my trauma for the day. That's how we should be, to step out in the world and know, no, I don't. You're not the boss of me. You're on your way out of here. In Proverbs it says, for as we thinketh in our hearts, so it is. Not what we tell our family, not what we tell our friends. What we truly believe is true about ourselves. That's what shows up in our lives. We don't get what we hope for. We don't get what we long for. We don't even get sometimes what we pray for. We get what we believe we deserve. And this is why affirmative prayer is so powerful. It raises our expectations. Because if you are co-creator with Spirit, you have to have high expectations for yourself. To know and to believe that you deserve the best. My teacher, Kennedy Schultz, said there's nothing too hard for God and there's nothing too good for me. So there's no reason why I shouldn't live in health and love and prosperity, have a body that works well for myself, full of energy and flexibility, have work that I enjoy, that rewards me and supports me, have a group of friends that remind me to play and not take myself so seriously. We are here to live and live well, to live abundantly. And when we think correctly and use the law of mind, we can bring results in our lives. Habitual thinking, well, that has some power. But deliberate thinking, that has great power. Christ said, all things are possible to those who believe. All things. If we believe that something can't happen for us, it will not happen to us. And that's according to the divine principle. It doesn't happen. However, when it does not appear, law is still working, but just according to our belief. It's like the transmission on your car. You can put the transmission in reverse and the engine will happily move it in reverse. You can put it in forward and the engine will happily move you forward. The engine doesn't care one way or another. It's doing what the engine is designed to do, provide power. The same as with spirit. It provides us the possibilities. We set the intention. And think about a mathematician. He's working on a problem. She can't get the answer. Spirit is not punishing her for the mistake. It's the incorrect answer that's waking her up at 3 o'clock in the morning with frustration. And until she provides the correct principles, the right answer is still going to bug her. In the same way, sin and punishment and salvation are logical reactions of the universe to the life we are leading. Dr. Holmes says, we are dealing with a universe that is fluid in nature. It takes form, and then it releases the form it has taken. In the book of Ecclesiastes, it says, to everything there is a season, a time and every purpose under the heaven. No condition is life is permanent. Everything in our lives are on the way out. Everything in your life now is on the way out. You just want to make sure that you keep the good things in your life longer, and you do that by giving them praise and gratitude, and you want to hurry the negative out the door sooner. Now, how do you hurry the negative out the door sooner? By doing something we really don't like doing. Stop complaining about it. Stop running around and updating all your friends about how your boss has done this or your partner's done that. Leave it alone. Keep it between you and spirit, and it will speed on its way out. Everything that is not in divine order is subject to change. The original intention for creation is harmony, beauty, and truth. The universe is not divided against itself. Raymond Charles Barker said, indecision is actually the individual's decision to fail. The person who does not decide will never advance. The great secret of success is to decide and then act. Make a decision, and the universe moves to support you. So you make a decision about what you want to do. Start looking for, is the universe supporting me? Am I seeing signs and signals? When I'm out and about, do I hear conversations? Do I see magazine articles? You want to open up a business. All of a sudden you see rent signs at retail shops. You see a course at the local college opening up about it. The universe will send you signs and signals if you're moving in the right direction. And we want to be able to look every discordant fact in the face, and we know that their seemingly reality is just a temporary condition of old man, night, and chaos. We have to acknowledge that there's wrong conditions, but they cannot remain unless there is someone to experience them. This means that the experience must exist in consciousness. Change the consciousness, and the false condition must disappear. I saw an interesting interview this past week. It was Dr. Edith Edgar. She was on the Oprah show. She's 90 years old. She was a survivor of the concentration camps of Germany. She said, when they were finally freed from the camps, when the Allies finally got there and they burst open the gates of the camp, she said some of the prisoners would step outside in freedom and they couldn't handle it. They would have to go back inside. Yeah. Freedom had not yet come to their consciousness. They weren't able to accept it. And Scripture says, be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. When we change our consciousness, our external conditions shift. The Gospel of Thomas, it says, make the inner as the outer and the outer as the inner, and you will enter the kingdom of heaven. When what's going on in our consciousness reflects the goodness that we want to live. This is the kingdom of heaven. So we want to take time to meditate and to pray daily, regardless of what's going on. Christ said, go into your closet if you have to. But daily meditate in prayer for a life you want to live, for a neighborhood, a family, a group of friends, and the world. Dr. Egger at the concentration camp, she said she would tell herself each morning, today I will survive. Tomorrow I'll be free. Today I'll survive. But freedom's coming tomorrow. And envision that tomorrow. Thomas Trower, he wrote, principle is not bound by precedence. When you really understand that it's such a powerful idea, what that means is no matter what has happened before, you don't have to put up with it for another moment. You can be lonely all your life, and you can find yourself surrounded by family, loved ones. You can be broke all your life and suddenly have wealth untold. You can be sickly all your life and experience great health. God is not bound by our history. God is greater than our history. No matter what has happened in the past, Spirit is always ready to bring about new and greater possibilities. And then it's our job to be as open as we can to that good, to recognize it, to look for it, and to expand it, pass it along to others. Become the miracle you are seeking to have. See, every one of us, we have the ability to support and encourage people in our lives. Dr. Egger, before she went to the concentration camps, she had been a student of ballet. And when she got to the camp, she went face to face to one of the most horrible people of history, the angel of death, he was called, Dr. Mengele. And he forced her to dance for him. He forced her. And because she danced, he gave her one loaf of bread. She went back to the barracks where she was living, and instead of consuming all the bread for herself, she divided it out to the women in the barracks with her. Much later, they had gone 2 weeks without food. The Allies were closing in on the camp, and the Germans kept moving them further into Germany. They were forced to go on a march, a death march, and people were just dropping left and right. She had a broke back, and still she was marching. She got to a place where she told them, I can't go any further. And it was the women of her barrack that lifted her up and kept her going. It was their strength that was able to carry her on to freedom. And it was because she had shared a little bit of bread. Dr. Holmes says we stand on the threshold of a new experience. The veil between spirit and matter is thin. Christ said, if you just have a seed of faith, nothing is impossible for you. So we want to step out and we want to do our work in prayer, even though we don't see much of the possibilities. The night may be long, the storm may be blowing hard, but trust in the goodness of life. Spend time in faith and meditation. Look out on the world and declare the glory of God, and Spirit itself will carry you on when you can't carry yourself. This is the truth in your life this morning. It's the truth in mine, and so it is. Thank you. Thanks. Listen.
always there. I hope you will listen to a humble prayer. They tell me I'm just an outcast, I shouldn't speak to you. Yet I've always known that you love the outcast too. God help the outcast, hungry from birth. Show them the mercy they don't find on earth. The lost and forgotten, they look to you still. God help the outcast, or nobody will. I ask for nothing, I can get by, but I know so many less lucky than I. God help the outcast, the poor and downtrodden. I know we all are the children of God. I don't know if there's a reason why some are blessed, some not. Why the few you seem to favor. They fear us, flee us, try not to see us. God help the outcast, the tattered and torn, seeking an answer to why they were born. Winds of misfortune have blown them about. You made the outcast, don't cast them out. The poor and unlucky, the weak and the hard. I know we all are the children of God. We all are the children of God.
Thank you, David. Well, now we come to the time we support our center, and we support this place because this place does a lot of great good, and you're a part of making that good happen. Now, you can support us in a couple of ways. You can support us by consciousness, by seeing us growing and thriving, by doing your prayer work. You can support us by volunteering. We always have volunteering projects going on, and you can support us by coin. However you choose to support us, know that Spirit recognizes and will reward your gift abundantly. If you will, take your intention and place it over your heart and read this affirmation of prosperity. I live in a universe of abundance. As I freely and joyfully give, I join in the divine flow, and all that I share with life returns to me multiplied abundantly. The ushers have stepped down. David, I know you got something great for us.
There's a calm surrender to the rush of day. When the heat of this rolling world can't be turned away. An enchanted moment, and it sees me through. It's enough for this restless warrior just to be with you. And can you feel the love tonight? It is where we are. It's enough for this wide-eyed wanderer that we've got this far. And can you feel the love tonight? How it's laid to rest. It's enough
Thank you, David. And thank you, Betsy. And thank you for your contributions. Your contributions have helped this center grow and to thrive, to do all the great good work that we're doing. So we thank you, we bless it, we release it, knowing it goes out in the universe and returns to us multiplied abundantly. And together we say, and so it is. All right, my friends, we're going to conclude the service with an affirmative prayer. I'm going to do it in the first person, but take it into yourself. If I say something that works for you, hold tight to that. If I say something that doesn't work for you, well, just let that part slide by. But just know this truth with me this morning. There is but one God and one mind and one power. That power is perfect love, is divine intelligence. That power called me by name from stardust so I could walk the soil of St. Augustine. And here today, now in this sacred place, surrounded by all these wonderful loving souls, I choose to know the best for myself. I choose to see myself as God sees me, not as weak or wounded, but bold, dynamic, out in the world, making a difference, making the world a better place because I have come to it. So here today, I see myself not as a victim, but as a victor. I see myself out in the world creating loving conditions, supportive people, giving love and encouragement to all those around me. I see the world working out for the best, knowing that Spirit is flowing through me and everyone around me, creating a heaven on earth. So here today, I leave behind every false idea, every idea of lack or limitation. I've played with those small ideas long enough. This morning I lift my eyes up to see the glory of God raining down upon me, and peace and health and love and prosperity, joy and friendship. I see myself having so much fun, laughing like children on the playground. I am here to witness God manifesting as my love, health, joy, and purpose. Spirit won't have it any other way, and neither will I. This is my truth. Every cell of my being radiates this right knowing, and I release this prayer into the mind of God to do its good and perfect, bold and dynamic work, returning to me multiplied abundantly. And together we say, and so it is. All right, my friends, I'm going to leave you with one last idea, and that is your life. Your life. It's not a problem to be solved. It's a miracle unfolding. Your job this week is to go name your miracle, proclaim your miracle, and make it your own. God bless us all. Now let us go be the miracle Spirit is calling us to be. Until we see each other again, this is Reverend Ken wishing you many blessings.